Okay, man. We this is Raymond with Building Wealth While Black. We got Donovan over here, and we got my cousin Reggie over here, and we met Donovan. When was that, Reggie?
Man, that was March. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, probably 2 years ago when we met Donovan, and actually Reggie was the one who told me to come out to this event. So what was the event in the neighborhood?
Yeah, there was an event with I guess learning how to basically purchase a property and learning the process of what all you would need to fund it and all the paperwork and everything, the whole process as far as learning how to find a property and either flip it or...
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I remember we met Donovan. I was skeptical. I ain't gonna lie, because this dude was like, where's the sale pitch at the end? He's like, nope.
I remember.
There's no sale pitch. I was just trying to share the information with the community. I'm like, what? And like, okay, nah, it's got to be something with this guy. But it was no sales pitch at all. So I'm like, man, this dude's really genuine, trying to help people out. It was a crazy day, I remember. But it ended crazily, but got shut down. But the whole concept was real good. So that's where I originally met Donovan, and that's kind of why my thoughts was, you know what, I'm going to start this channel, because he inspired me to kind of like say, hey, whatever I'm learning, let me share that with my community and my fellow entrepreneurs or people who want to try to build wealth. So I was like, let me try to build this channel so whatever I learn, I can pick up, I can share with other people. So and I honestly I posted this video back in I think December of 2021, and we got like over I think 20,000 views plus off of this one video, and people have been asking me for like, hey man, what's the progress on this? The title was 25-year-old real estate developer building 20 duplexes. So I'm like, man, I need to follow back up with Donovan. Like, we always stay in touch, always comment on his Instagrams and everything. I always see him doing what he's been doing. So I'm like, let me do this video to kind of follow up and see like where he's been in the progress. I know a lot of people's like, okay, where has it started? Because we know where you started from. So like, where is it going now? So I'll let it take on to you.
I appreciate you having me on again, and yeah, that first initial meeting, I still remember at the very end, you came up and said exactly that. So like, what are you selling? I was like, no, man, we literally not selling anything. But anyways, at the time, that was me and my partner,
Andrew.
Yeah, partner Andrew. Mm-hmm. We were building on a lot, and we wanted to share kind of how we got there and everything we had to do to. Mind you, we had never done this before, so we were. Same thing that we're doing right now. We're just winging it, right?
Right.
But we just try to share the information. So yeah, thanks again for having me out here. Still trying to progress on the duplexes. The ones that we originally saw in that last video are all completed. I think we saw 2 in that video, and those are both finished and rented out. So we cashed out, refinanced those, pulled out the money, pretty much the majority of the money we put into it, and then we have it rented. And so now just make cash flow every month until we decide to sell it, and then we'll go from there.
That's all. What's up? So, like I said, I think back then you had, it was like 16 lots or 17 lots or somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And so, like, what's the progression now? Like, so you was at 16 lots. I think you were building on maybe like 6, 7 around then. So
at the time we had maybe 16 lots, building on 6 or 7. So those 6 or 7 are pretty much done. I think 5, 6, and 7 are about to be finished, and well, I think they're finished, but they're waiting to be sold. So, how it takes with the buyers, gotta get their financing approved and whatnot. So, now we're up to 25 lots that we'll be building on. I think 22 of those will be duplexes, and we'll work on our first 3 single families.
Nice.
Oh, okay. So, 3 single families. All right.
Mm-hmm. So, is the process different with the single families versus the multifamily?
In general, the process is the same. Again, this will be my first time doing single family, so I could be making a whole bunch, tons of mistakes that I don't know about yet. But from the permitting side, it's the same. Single family and a duplex in the city of Houston is the same permitting. So no difference there. Obviously, building it, duplexes we're building now, none of them have a garage. But obviously, these single families will be 3 stories because they're actually going to be by the Edo U of H.
Okay.
So they'll be 3 stories, kind of like what you see over there with the garage. So I'll be trying to figure out that. Being a first time going 3 stories, so it'll come with its own set of challenges. But we'll figure it out.
And the permitting, is the permitting different versus in the different areas in Houston?
No, as long as you're in Harris County, it's going to be all the same.
Nice.
Yeah, so if you go outside of Harris County, go down to Pearland, now you're in different county, so that's when it changes. But, Yep, anything in Harris County is the same.
Man, that's pretty good, man.
That's it. Trying to figure it out.
All right. So this is for my viewers. So I'm gonna try to go through a few of the questions that some people have asked. And Donovan usually been pretty good. And I didn't know he was going out here and answer some of the questions. It's like, man, it's like, God, this dude's on it. So let me see. I'm starting up. I'm trying to go through and look and see. So the last question is, let me see. I don't know if it's my phone or not. The last question I see that is posted actually today was how else do you make money on development other than the sales? So
yeah, good question. So with the development, obviously you can sell it, right? You can build and sell it. You can also do option 2 would be like what we did, where we build, cash out, refinance, and rented it out. So then at that point you just have a typical rental property. You could obviously everything is going to be some variation of those two. It's either you're going to build to sell or build to rent in some shape or form.
Okay. So like I said, I'm new to all this, and I know me and Reggie been talking about getting into the game too. So when you say cash out refinance, maybe break that down for some people who might not really understand what that means. Because I'm thinking okay, if I build this property, I got a hard money loan or something. So what does it mean when you say cash out refi?
Yeah, absolutely.
What am I gonna get?
Right. Yeah. Great question. It took me a while it took me tons of YouTube videos to figure this part out. But basically, the way you can cash out refinance is, so let's say you're building something for we'll just take that first property that we visited in that first video. So the one that we walked through, the single story.
Yeah.
So on that one, we bought the land for $50,000. We built it for maybe $170. So we're all in at $220.
Okay.
50 plus the 170. But the key is when it's done, it was worth about $320. So we're all into it for $220, but it's worth $320.
$320. Okay.
Now, different lenders, the bank, there's other kind of long-term products called DSCR, debt service coverage ratio loans.
Okay.
These are different than your traditional mortgage that you would get with the bank, because only thing they care about is does the property cash flow. And the reason why this lending product is better, in my opinion, than your traditional bank mortgage is because it doesn't go on your personal credit.
Okay.
So the loan is in our LLC's name, so it's not in our personal credit.
That makes sense.
But back to the numbers, the lenders will give you 70 to 80% of the value of the property. So in this case, we got 80%. So 80% of 320 is 250-ish. I don't know. Someone can check my math on that, but ballpark. So, but if you get a new loan for 250 and you're all into it for 220, we're probably all into it for about 240 after permitting fees and whatnot. So let's just say we're all into it for 240. So we got a new loan for 250. That means we can pay off the hard money lender. We had the hard money loan of 170 for construction.
Okay, I got you.
So we paid them off. Then the 50,000 in land, my partner Andrew put in.
Okay.
So I pay him back. It's 50,000.
That he invested. Okay.
Well, actually, we'll say it's 70,000 because he paid for the plans permitting as well. Right. So, anyways, so we pay back the 170 to the lender, pay back the 70 to the investor, and then we have a new loan on it. And so we have that the difference between the loan, the 250, and the 320 that's worth. That 70K is our equity. So that's how much we would have if we sold the property. So if we sold the property, we would make 70 grand in this scenario.
Okay,
but instead, we're cashing out refinance. So we're pulling out our initial money, and then we're renting it out. And the reason why someone might do that is because, one, is like you just want cash flow. That might be one reason. Two is because of taxes. So when you cash out refinance, again, talk to your CPA. I'm not a CPA, but
yeah, right.
When you cash out refinance and you're going to use that money towards other property, you don't
have to pay taxes on
it. Right, exactly. What'd you call that? It's I forgot the term for it when you move that capital over to another property, as long as you do it within a certain amount of
1031.
1031.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that would be the plan. So if we were to sell it 3-4 years from now, we would 1031.
Right.
Again, I'm not a CPA, but keep in mind before you can 1031, you have to have rented it out for a year.
Okay.
So people always ask, like, why don't flippers and people who build to sell just 1031? You can't just build and 1031. You have to rent it out for a year before you can 1031.
Okay, that makes sense. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. It makes sense.
So if we would have sold it, we would have been paying 30-40% taxes on it because.
And so that is actually better to go ahead and just reinvest, save you a lot of money.
Exactly. Yeah. Save money. The caveat there is, like, sometimes you can't always get your money out, all your money out. So for example, the blue property that we visited, I don't know if we showed the outside in the last video.
Yeah, I should definitely put that on the video, do another video, because we honestly, I had more footage that I could have made it to a second video, because we actually visited another property of Donovan's. Was a 2-story with 3x3 on both sides.
It was 3-3.
Yeah. 3-3. Yeah, 3-3. So it was a nice property, but yeah, I should have put that out there.
All good. I was just gonna add in, like, in that scenario, in that property, we didn't get to pull out all of our money. So that's, like, could be the downside. So, like, remember in the first property, right, partner invested 70 grand. In this case, the investor didn't get all his 70 grand. He maybe got like 50.
Right.
So if you needed all your money, like, cash out refinance wouldn't have got you all of it. So that's like the pros and cons.
Pros and cons.
You know,
so, like, because I see a lot of people's, like, fund to flip, and they're like, okay, we get all these investors in and say, hey, everybody put in whatever amount to help fund the flip, and you get like so much money back on your investment. So let's say I give you 10 or 20,000 towards getting the property, and I guess once you cash out refinance, I would get my money back plus interest. That's how it usually work, or no?
That would work in, like, an ideal scenario, right? Like, assuming everything went according to plan. Now, like, if you hit something like a market like we're in now, where stuff is, you have to start lowering your price, and you can't actually cash out all your money, then you may not get your full return back, which you obviously wouldn't be happy.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the downside of not selling, is you might not get all your money back.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is a weird market time anyway. So I mean, this is not. I don't consider this is the norm right now, where things are going. So, but so I guess that's a good leads into another good question. So, with the market being where it is right now, like what are things that you are doing different now, since interest rates are going up, prices seem to finally start dropping down? Are you, like, doing anything different now than what you probably would have done like a year ago?
Yeah, I'd say I'm probably less aggressive on buying land because the interest rates are higher, so I know that stuff is probably going to sit a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Now, again, if I still see a good deal, still going to buy it. But then on the other side of that, with the duplexes in Houston, as you guys can see, like, if you just pull up Zillow, and I do this on my Instagram sometimes, like, I'll show, like, duplexes under 500,000, and there's, like, maybe 5 in all of Houston. And Houston's the 4th largest city in the nation, and so my whole, like, investment thesis is, like, supply and demand. Like, there's a lot of demand for duplexes, but there's just not enough supply. So I still feel pretty comfortable about moving forward and building the ones we currently have in the pipeline.
Okay.
Right. Let me see. I'm
back to the original question. You mentioned you guys are putting everything in the LLC. So with starting that process up, does someone still have to fund it using, like, their personal social, just for backup for the LLC?
No, so good question. So this is something I'm actually working on now, that shout out my guy Malik. I don't know his Instagram handle, but he's helping me get my business credit so I could get basically liquid cash through the business.
Through the business instead of
Is that the guy that you was telling me about that I seen you?
Exactly. Yep. I think I shared him on Instagram.
Yeah. I think you shared me his information. Actually, I had a conversation with him the other week about business credit. So he's a
sharp guy. So yeah, I guess in this case, the 3 scenarios that I can think of that you could use to fund the land in this case. So you could fund it with your own money, right? In my case, I didn't have any money, so that wasn't an option.
Okay.
So I went to option 2, was get someone else to put the money up, and that's what I did with Andrew, right? He put the money up. And option 3 may be to, use your business credit to, get the liquid cash, which is what people do, and I think it's a good strategy as long as like you got some reserves, because you still got to pay that back. I think sometimes people talk about business credit.
And they don't speak on that part.
It just disappears, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you still owe that money back.
Exactly, because we have a business, me and my wife, and we got a business loan. But like people never talk about, you get all this money, but you gotta pay that money back. A lot of times people don't. They sell you on that. Oh man, I can help you get this much money in business credit, but at the end of the day, you still gonna have to pay that loan back. So you got to make sure whatever you're doing is profitable, or you're gonna have the funds to pay it back. Because it's good to be able to have where you're not using your own money, but like you said, you still got to pay that money.
It's got to come from somewhere.
You still got to come back.
So what I'm planning to do with that business credit is not so much. I may buy land. If I find like a really, really good deal, it'll have to be like top tier. But again, it's kind of risky just taking the business credit and just buying land, because you get held up in permitting for you don't know how long, right? So that's the danger there. But I'm planning to use it to like pay the contractor, right? So like I'll pay the contractor, then I get reimbursed through my loan, my construction loan. So that may be that's what I would recommend to use it for. Outside of buying land, is to use it to pay your contractor in between. Maybe there's like a week gap between, let's say your contractor finishes on a Friday, but your lender can't get out there to inspect the property until next week.
Okay.
But your contractor needs the money, right?
Right.
Otherwise, he's not going to move forward. So, but the nice part about that is like it's coming the next week, and so you can pay it back if you need to.
Okay.
So that's how I'm planning to use it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm going to go back to, let me see another question. I don't know if you can answer this question. It came from the video.
For sure.
Somebody said, do you know any builders in Atlanta market area? I'm looking for a good contract to build a 4-3 or 2 plan on my land. So I don't know if you got any reach out in Atlanta.
I don't have any pull in Atlanta, unfortunately. I don't even have any pull in Houston. So like I wish I could help you out, but I think you could do what I did. Atlanta's a pretty big city, so they probably have a Facebook group where they have real estate, like Atlanta real estate, I'm guessing, just like Houston. That's how I found my original contractor. And then from there, you just kind of network with either the subs or other GCs and try to find someone you like. I actually ended up having to fire my first one. Actually, I think the one that was doing the project that we first visited,
right.
Yeah, that one, I think that guy fired, because he had took on some more profitable projects and just kind of forgot about mine. And so like that's why it took so long. That's like one of them is just now finishing, because he basically
put you on the back burner.
Put me on the back burner. And I was naive enough, right? He was telling me, I'm like, when are we gonna finish? He's like, oh, next month. Okay. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Right.
I didn't do no checking up, no due diligence on it to make sure things are progressing along. But so now I'm more active in the process, and like now I track like the inspections that we need, right?
And so is there a time frame for each step? Like, okay, you get your contractor, they should start working on your project within a certain amount of time?
Yeah, so now my one now is really good, is that he'll start before I even give him any money. So
that's what's up.
We just built that relationship now, because I'm giving him all my builds, so he's got a pipeline of 10, 15 coming, so he has work coming, and then obviously I'm gonna pay him each time, so and he knows I'm good for it. So, but yeah, like I'd say
building relationships.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
So I plan in Houston at least for like 5 to 6 months for a build.
Okay.
It's not really there's not really a set timeline for each part because like a few weeks ago, remember all the rain we had.
Right.
So like there you can't really do anything. So you can't say, hey, you got to have this done in 2 weeks, and then it rains in 2 weeks, for a week straight. Then it's not fair to the contractor. So yeah,
that
that'd
makes
be
sense.
reasonable. Yeah.
All right, guys, this is going to wrap up part 1 of this interview with Donovan. Don't forget to go watch part 2. Please like and subscribe. Also, go follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. As remember, Building Wealth While Black. This is your host, Raymond, signing out. Later. Peace.